So Aoife, it's a dramatic day in Croke Park. The seagulls have just made their way around us, and it is Cork that have done the double here at GAHQ.
Yeah, just a brilliant senior final, to follow on from the intermediate final as well. Cork will be delighted with their win. Galway very disappointed because right up until the very last few minutes, Galway were in it, and I'd say the few chances they missed there, they'll be sorry about those later.
It's a good point, because the narrative nationwide was that Galway were extreme underdogs and that Cork were going to win this at a canter. Galway, they led at the break, and they'll be disappointed in the way the game went, that they didn't see it out perhaps.
Well, that's for sure. Nobody gave Galway a chance except Galway themselves, and all of us knew and believed that they could do it because they haven't become a bad team overnight. But they had scored 6 scores in a row. Aoife Lynskey, who was doing absolutely brilliant there for that period up until 51 minutes, and then it seemed to have gone pear-shaped. Cork took over from around the middle of the field there. Aisling Thompson kind of started mopping up ball and stuff, and it was just, they couldn't catch them, okay? But they'll be sorry. They'll be very, very sorry with the few chances they missed, Galway. Disappointing for them.
First half, very frantic. I think it was level 8 times we've scribbled down here. Galway led by a point, 10 points to 9. But such a frantic pace to the game in the first half in particular. It
was. Galway went at them like they had no choice. They were complete underdogs, like we've all heard and said. But I mean, the pace at which the game started, and Liz Dempsey, the referee, was letting an awful lot go. I think Galway had probably their purple patch in the first half, and Cork really took over in the second, but came back. But just the time ran out on them, I think. But definitely the first half was frantic. They went guns blazing, and it's a pity for them.
What was it Galway did so well in the first half that they were creating so many problems to Cork?
They were just opening them up. They were taking on ball and taking out, shots instead of just going for, mishit shots. They were recycling ball and just taking them on. And that game wasn't really suiting Cork, because Cork's game is a running game themselves and a lot of hand passing, and Galway knew that. So they were kind of blocking down hand passes. Hand passes were going astray for Cork, and Galway were well in this game up till 50 minutes.
We talk about the third quarter, championship quarter, to reference a code from a different sport, but 1-4 without reply after the break. Cork, whatever was said at half time, they come out like an absolute train.
Yeah, they did, and then kind of Galway turned it in, and they had gotten 6 points in a row. But Cork, I'd say, went in and said, look, we're not happy with our performance. We're not doing what we are able to do, and they're All Ireland champions, coming into this game. So I think they just settled down the game, passed it properly, took on Galway, and Galway just had no answer for them at that stage. And I think, to be honest, around the 36th minute when that goal came, and there's probably a little bit of controversy around the goal.
I was going to ask you about that, actually.
Yeah.
My phone is blown up. It seems to be the big topic up and down the country at the moment. Not a lot of contact, shall we say. Brilliant run, firstly, by Amy O'Connor, comes through, yeah. Cut up in the Galway defence. And then after that, you tell us what happened next.
Well, I seen it, but obviously when you're watching it in real time, you kind of think, oh, that's a great goal. And then she's claiming it and they've gotten it. But Amy O'Connor made a brilliant, her usual blistering runs down around the left side, passed a lovely ball in to Mackie then, and there was no contact with the ball. But I think when it falls out of your hand like that and the momentum takes you, it is a goal. But I'm no expert on refereeing and stuff like that. But to me, looking back on it, I know she had no contact with it. The hand pass, there was no actual, it kind of fell out of her hand, but she didn't actually go to throw it. She went to kind of probably, strike it, but it just went with her.
What you would say is, during that period, the one thing tangible can say is, I think Galway, who'd gone the first half without having a shot wide of the target, they shot 3 in a row during that period where Cork took control.
Yeah, and remember at the time we had to get Hawkeye in to have a look, and we're hoping, and you're kind of living off scraps at that stage. But they had 6 wides then, Galway, and it's a lot. And we had, there's a swirling wind here always in Croke Park, but those few chances that they had, if they had taken them, and there was probably a free here at the end. I think it was on Ciara Hickey, was it, or Anne-Marie Starr, that we felt Galway should have got. But at that stage you were living on a prayer, hoping that you'd get a score to 10, 15, 20 minutes without a score isn't great. But I think that was down to Cork's dominance in the half back line. Their centre half back absolutely immense, and Cork knew what they had to do. Galway ran out of kind of plans, and I do think that their substitutes that came in, they made the difference there. Sorcha McCartan and Clodagh Finn. But ours were just a little bit too late, I think. Orla McGrath came on there as well, and Niamh Nyland. I think Niamh Nyland in my eyes, she was nearly due a start, you know what I mean? And I mentioned there a couple of our subs from the intermediate panel, you know, like Aoife Lynskey and a few of these. If they brought them in, injected a bit of pace, and because they've been having great campaigns for their intermediates, and but it was just a little bit too late. I think our substitutes didn't get enough time to make the impact like their Cork substitutes did.
Was an element of that perhaps that Galway had hit their purple patch and they got 6 points in a row there, and you thought the game was potentially gone during that bit of purple patch just after half time for Cork, but instead Galway rallied, and we touched on those 6 points in a row, and you thought maybe it's heading west.
Oh, it was looking absolutely brilliant at that stage, you know. If you don't know who would have runs, you know, Niamh Kilkenny, they were really on top, you know, and Ciara Hickey there in the half back line as well. Anya Kane was driving balls in, you know, she was kind of taking a more sweeper role as well, and Aoife Dunn really taking the game to it, and we thought at that stage, geez, you know, this is the Galway that we know. I mean, like I said before, they haven't become a bad team overnight, but Cork are just such athletes, they weren't probably going to leave this game behind them.
You talk about the impact of the Cork bench, and they got the next 3 points, outscored Galway 3 points to no score for the last 15 minutes or so of camogie action here in Croke Park. But it was 3 points from two substitutes as well. That was, I suppose, tangible evidence of what the impact of the bench that you're talking that Galway didn't get there.
Yeah, well, I think they were probably biting at the bit to get on, and we know, like Sorcha McCartan, she's from down, and I'd said at the start of the programme, you know, the Niamh Mallon, they're both from, I think they're from the same club, and it was nice for her to get on as well, but I'd say dying to get in there, and Clodagh Finn as well, and they made such an impact. They wanted part of this, you know, like big win for them, and they did it well.
Galway, we'll speak about Cork in a minute, but Galway now, where to next for Colin Murray? This is pretty much a rebuilding on the job here through the course of the year. Probably surprised a lot of people with the performance today. What next for Galway?
Well, I think they're probably going through a slight phase of transitioning now at the minute, and who knows? I don't think Cathal Murray will probably stay on. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to retire anyone from positions or anything like that, or the players. They will know in due course themselves, and probably today isn't the day to decide that. Like Galway have done very, very well over the last couple of years, you know, 3 All-Irelands, and like they've done very, very well. Cathal has done great work with them. I think now it's time maybe for some of the newer blood to be, you know, brought through the team as well, and see what that brings. But like I said, those players have given great service to Galway, you know, the older players there, and you know, Niamh Kilkenny coming back, Ailish O'Reilly, you know, and all those girls, so they owe Galway nothing, do you know what I mean? But who knows what will happen now.
Let's focus on the winners. Cork, they celebrated that one, the music was blaring there around us, ringing our ears for a couple of minutes. Special scenes for any Cork supporter. Of course, we touch on as well, winning the double, but that's a special trip home now ahead of the guys.
Oh, what a day for them on the 120th anniversary of camogie, you know, and by God, I'd love to be in Cork tonight and see what the crack is like, but they're well deserved, you know. They've an awful lot of work put in as well, no more than every other county, trying their best to do their best for their county. But you know, the Mackies there, 7 All-Irelands I think they've won, you know, Aisling Thompson there with a blast of All-Irelands as well, like there's Amy O'Connor. They all had superb games and really wanted it, and you'd wonder, like, will the hunger ever go from them? But I suppose when you're winning, you know, you want to keep winning. It's a great feeling. There'll be 2 totally different changing rooms down there, and I've been in both myself, and they're not pretty places to be, but by God, when you win something like that, they should enjoy it and revel in it, because they put in a massive amount of work.
A word then on Ger Manley, the Cork manager. You know, he's had to manage a very talented squad, and we touched on the impact off the bench. That's not an easy dynamic at times, to trying to keep everyone happy.
No, and us women, we're not easy to keep happy at the best of times.
No comment.
So, you know, he's done remarkable work with them, but he's kept their game quite the same. Nothing has massively changed. Anytime you're watching Cork, it's kind of, you're on the edge of your seat, because there's an awful lot of hand passing going on, but it's, I've mentioned before, it's almost like a football game where you give and go, but he has done great work with them, and I'm sure he'll be delighted taking over from Matthew Toomey there, you know, and what he's brought back into the county. He'll probably have to stay on now. I'm sure the pressure will be put on him, but you know, fair play to him. It's not an easy job taking over 30, 40 women and trying to keep everyone happy and the backroom team happy, but I mean, he got his just reward tonight, so fair play to him.
Just lastly then as well, it was a treble header here. Tipperary, when dramatic circumstances in the junior final. It's a crazy game as well.
It was, but you know, like as you were watching the games progress, I think it was getting livelier and livelier, and you could see just a small little difference between, you know, the Premier Junior, the Intermediate, and the Senior. But you'd have to say, unbelievable scenes. Like it, you know, you'd be sorry for them as well, like losing out by a single score, wasn't it, in the end? So fair play to them as well, and it shows that Tipperary isn't going away. You know, they're continuing to push it at all angles, and lovely for those teams to win on the last year of, you know, your second team playing in the junior finals or the intermediate finals, because next year, if it's your second team, you won't be allowed playing this competition. So I'm sure they'll really, really enjoy that.
I suppose that wraps up a wonderful afternoon's entertainment. A long day here in Croke Park. It was dramatic, and I suppose we can't go by without saying not an ounce of nerves in the press box here either.
Well, not an ounce. I think if you've seen me earlier on, thanks very much. It was, I really enjoyed the day and love doing it from this side of it. Sometimes like you'd be chatting and talking on it and you don't actually see an awful lot of the game, so you're writing down scores and stuff like that and you have to look back over it. But I really, really enjoyed it, and thanks a million for having me on.
Safe trip home. Thanks very much.
Thanks a million.